thing. Well, Penn State-Illinois game was averaging a very solid 3.6 rating, 3.8 rating, no, 3.8 million viewers, I should say. That's a lot. They were averaging 3.8 million viewers. Okay? The only thing that gets more than that is the NFL. That's more than the NHL and the NBA combined. That's the only thing that gets more than that is the NFL. We haven't seen numbers yet. I'm sure that the baseball World Series is getting 7 or 8 million, somewhere in there. But the game was doing well, averaging 3.8 million viewers. In overtime, though, the peak number shot up like double. During overtime of that game, and I don't know how people find out. I know with me, it's through notifications on the phone. All of a sudden, you get a notification that says Penn State and Illinois are entering their third overtime. What? During overtime, the audience doubled to 7.4 million people, which is going to make these muckety-mucks at the NCAA think that this is a good thing, this overtime. I think it was like looking at a car wreck. It's not necessarily a good thing, but you sure as hell can't look away. So, 7.4 million during the overtime. And what does a competitive Alabama-Tennessee game mean? Nationally. Now, I'm talking about it here. Everybody watches it here. Nationally, what does it mean for Alabama and Tennessee to play a competitive game? Man, that game was pretty compelling, right, until Alabama blew it open at the end. It was pretty compelling. The game averaged 4.7 million viewers, making it the number one most watched game on cable TV this season. Alabama and Tennessee, the most watched game of the year on cable. It was the most watched game between the two teams in 5 years, 6 years, the 2016 game. Remember in 2016, both teams came in ranked in the top 10. That game had a higher number. And on another ratings note, of the 6 nationally televised, listen to this now. Of the 6 nationally televised NHL windows so far on TNT and ESPN, compared to the last regular full season, which would be 2019. Can't compare anything to 2020, right? Compared to the last regular type fall season, 2019. Each game on either TNT or ESPN, each game is up double digits in the ratings, and 4 of the 6 games are up triple digits. What triple digits means is over 100% increase in the ratings. Now you might say, yeah, well, the bar was set low. Doesn't matter. On NBCSN, what the viewership they were getting 2 years ago in the fall is half of what they're getting now. Over 100% increase in 4 out of 6 games. I told you this would happen. The NHL on ESPN, the NHL on TNT went from 300,000 viewers to 600,000 viewers. By the way, the NBA was up even. First NBA opening night of the NBA, a lot of it had to do with the Celtics and the Knicks. But the opening night of the NBA was the highest rated opening night in the NBA in 4 years. Do you know what's down? NASCAR. NASCAR continues to plummet. Last Sunday's NASCAR Cup Series playoff race from Texas had a 1.5 rating. Now that's 2.44 million viewers, which is still more than any of the NBA or any of the NHL stuff. But it was down. It was the least watched Cup Series race on remember, that was on NBC, not NBCSN. This is on the mothership, NBC. Broadcast TV. Broadcast TV. Wait till the NHL is on ABC on broadcast TV. It was the least watched NASCAR race on broadcast television this century. 21 years. It's crazy. Over there in that little glass room, playing the Platters That Matter and the Stacks of Wax and keeping me on the air, and he's all right. He's all right with the loss last night. I mean, it was kind of predictable. It's Coach Chris.
Who in the blue hell are you? What is your name? Detective. It doesn't matter what your name is.
I'm the producer of this show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I put this thing together out of spit and polish.
I think this is one of the traits of a really good producer. Keep the talent happy.
I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
Now, Tom. Hey, Tom.
Testosterone high today. Testosterone, whatever the f*** it is.
It really doesn't matter what you think. It really doesn't matter what you say.
Any of you play sports?
It's all right. Tight, right? It's tight. You kind of expect it. Listen, going in, you said what? Get the split.
Yeah.
Go get the split, right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, all you have to do is win the next three. I mean, all you have to do is win the next 3 games, right? I mean,
well, any 3 games.
Exactly.
But
yeah.
The next 3 would be nice, but
just win 3 games. You know what I mean? And
that's all they got to do too is win 3 games. But at least you're back in Atlanta.
I think at the end of the day, when you look at Fried, putting in the innings, the earned runs don't look great, but putting in the innings, being able to kind of you saw that he got a lot better. Throughout the night, he started using more of his change-ups and his off-speed stuff a little bit better, and he wasn't trying to just throw strikes and throw fastballs the entire time, and it just wasn't working for him. And when you said about Kyle Wright, it's really good to see the local kid make an impact. And Drew Smiley, who was a starter earlier in the season, kind of faltered a little bit later in the game, and you kind of hope that this young kid can kind of come in and maybe make an impact because everyone seems to be making an impact that's fairly new thrown into the roster. So.
Yeah, and the only bad thing about it is that you get Max Fried is one of the starters you'd like to get something out of because you're down to 2 starters. So you're down to 2 starters. So it was unfortunate to see Max Fried get knocked around a little bit. You know what I mean? So I think that part of it.
I think he's a really good player though that bounces back really well, and he can he'll learn off of it. And he really did throughout that game he kind of did control the game a little bit when he started feeling himself.
He came back after.
Yeah.
Didn't he retire 10 guys in a row after?
And
at
once,
one point.
And once he started like I said before, once he started using more of his off speed stuff, he was trying to beat people away and trying to throw it lower, and it just some stuff just wasn't working for him. The one positive thing I think, if you look at it was kind of keeping Bregman. He wasn't hitting very well, but that whole team can hit. So it's just you don't know. Who's going to be the impact guy on that roster with Altuve, who's kind of not hitting. But both teams are so similar that they did basically the same thing to each other, in back-to-back nights.
Didn't Altuve rake last night?
Oh yeah, definitely. But Bregman and Altuve are their guys. You know what I mean? But they've got really good players in Maldonado.
That's what I said it.
Brantley.
If Altuve, he's the key.
Oh yeah,
he was 2 for 5 last night. If Altuve hits, they're all hitting. You know what I mean? That's just the way it works out, But in any event, we'll see. Now I didn't hear Grizz. I don't know why you're not using the sheet. Who is it that's up? We'll go. Oh, Ray Dog. I haven't heard from Ray Dog in forever. Ray Dog is up. Ray Dog, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm all right. Yourself?
I'm fantastic.
Well, I'm always working when you're on the air, so. But I don't have to be at work for another hour and a half, so
nice.
I can do this and then try to kick your beat the big dog, and show the listeners how we get this done.
Yeah, this has not been a good year for the listeners. At this point in time, you guys have not done well. I got to just be honest.
But I'm going to address the Braves game like this, and it infuriated me to no end, and I don't understand it. Why is it with the obsession with the shift now? Why is it sexy?
Because the numbers, that analytics show that it actually does work. Even though it's so great to see somebody go the other way and just shoot it through the other side of the infield, and they wouldn't do it if the numbers didn't show it works. So the numbers show that it is retarding the ability for pull hitters to get hits through the shift. And we see it. We've seen it in this series a few times, where balls were hit right directly into the shift that would have been outs. We've seen Altuve making a play from, short right field, because of the shift and so on. So they wouldn't do it if it didn't work. I just think the batters need to do a better job of defeating it and to get these people out of it.
Because I saw Atlanta lose the game last.
Starting to figure out some back control and go the other way. And, did it cost them the whole game, though? 7-2 game.
The Braves should be able to do that, too.
It gave you 4 runs. Houston scored 4 runs off of that with a guy on first with 1 out. If you're playing that straight, it is a simple routine by the book. 4-6-3 double play, you go back to the dugout.
That's a good point. It's a good point. Yeah, I hate it. And I think it's going to be addressed. I think it's going to be addressed in the
ability to get 4 runs.
Yeah, I think it will be addressed in the negotiations for the new CBA. They're talking about having a rule to where you can only have 2 people on one side of the bag. That would be the rule. Is that you want to shift, you can want to move your shortstop to where he's behind the bag. That's fine, but you're not going over the bag. That's one of the things that's on the table.
Well, I think that's a bit much. Enough teams lose because of what Atlanta did last night. They're going to stop doing it. That problem will take care of itself.
I would think, but you gotta make an effort to go the other way. We've seen Freddie do it. We've seen some guys do it. You've got to make an effort to take that hit. We got to get out of this mindset of launch angle and everything is about the home run. You've got to make an effort to go the other way and beat the shift.
Anyway, I'll talk to you in a little bit.
All right. He's pretty confident he's going to get in. He's feeling pretty good that he's going to get in and beat the Big Dog. 11-20-ish, something like that for Beat the Big Dog. All right, we got to get a break because coming up, Steve Merril, ProSportsInfo.com. He's next right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Simple Green is perfect for making your auto, RV, cycling, boating, and other sporting equipment look like new. Visit them at simplegreen.com.
Thursday Night Football tonight, the Arizona Cardinals hosting the Green Bay Packers. Arizona unbeaten at 7-0, while the Packers are 6-1. The Cardinals are favored at home by 6.5 points. On the money line, Arizona minus 275, Green Bay plus 230 with an over-under of 50. Major League Baseball Game 3 of the World Series Friday in Atlanta. Luis Garcia against Ian Anderson. The Braves plus 180 on the run line. The Astros minus 210 on the money line. Houston minus 102. Atlanta minus 108. Over under at Truist Park is 8.5. For VSiN.com, I'm Tony Desiri, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Thom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
Taco Bell presents a get-out-of-bedtime story. It's time to wake up from this amazing dream, even though you're jet skiing on Lemonade. How extreme! And oh, look at that, you just won the lottery. Is that a castle? Take the keys, it's your property. What's better than swimming in space? Just wait for the big reveal. It's Taco Bell breakfast and it's actually real. So it's time to wake up and bid your dreams farewell, because toasted breakfast burritos are waiting for you, only at Taco Bell. At participating Taco Bell locations near you during breakfast hours only.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Orange is the color power of construction, the color of Kubota and Huntsville Tractor and Equipment. Those who need to get things done trust Kubota's mini excavators, compact track loaders, and the best keeps getting better with the all-new mini compact loader from one of the top dealers in the country. More than 50 years of family service, every part in the book, and folks who know what to do with them. You'll be seeing orange with Huntsville Tractor and Equipment.
Come on, let's go to work.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Thursday, expect scattered showers and possibly a thunderstorm before lunchtime. High temperatures going to be topping out in the upper 60s for the afternoon. Gusty winds as high as 30 miles per hour are possible as well. For your Thursday night, expect a few isolated showers. Low temperatures falling into the lower 50s. I'm meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Steve Moulton from The Drive. Be sure and join us today from 5 to 7 with Wes Neighbors and me. Now back to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Show is brought to you by our good friends at North Alabama Mortgage. North Alabama Mortgage is writing those mortgages for you, whether you're in Tennessee or Alabama or in Florida. They can help you out with a conventional, a VA, a FHA, or a USDA loan. They do purchases and refinances, and they're like family. You know what I mean? That's the thing. In fact, I called Brian Hammaker yesterday. He just called me back this morning during the show. I got to call him back after the show, and because you talk to him, you like to talk to a cousin. You know what I mean? It's that kind of a guy. And their team, they just do a tremendous job helping you out. I mean, most of their business comes from referrals. This is all this is a referral. I'm giving you a referral for this deal. So, North Alabama Mortgage. Go to NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. Joining us now from ProSportsInfo.com, a numbers guru when it comes to sports wagering. He is, of course, Steve Merril, and he's on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Steve, welcome back. How are you?
Hey, Tom. Doing well.
You know, it's got to be so hard for fans sometimes to remove emotion from their sports betting, which is the only way to really, make money. But, I jumped on the Braves for the series. And then I jumped on the Braves for Game 1, Really liked them in Game 1, regardless of Charlie Morton going out early. Knew that that Houston would come back and win a game last night. There was no doubt in my mind that Houston would win that game last night. But I couldn't pull for Houston. I couldn't pull for the Astros. I couldn't watch the game and pull for the Astros. So instead of making a little wager on the Astros, I just let it go. I'm either going to bet the Braves or I'm not going to bet it at all. And it's stupid, isn't it? I mean, it's really not smart.
Well, I mean, obviously you have to remove emotion or favorites if you really want to pick winners long term, but this is also meant to be an enjoyable endeavor for the majority of people. I mean, I treat it as an investment. I do kind of set it and forget it. I really don't have any favorite teams anymore. I grew up in the D.C. area. The Washington Redskins, of course, in the 80s and 90s, had a nice franchise. It's been pretty easy for me to distance myself since. But, I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with passing on a game because you would hate to root for them. And the Astros are obviously a very easy team not to root for. And I'm kind of neutral on the series, but I also would probably rather see the Braves win it, all things equal.
Well, and it's just, there are just a few teams that I really would pull for in baseball. Of course, if it's the Yankees, in the American League and in the National League, the Braves, that's who I would pull for. If it was just a random World Series, it would be different. The other thing I was faced with was, to be quite honest with you, got the Braves at plus 120. After Game 1, you could get the Astros at plus 145. So I could have hedged right then and there and guaranteed a profit. But it wasn't enough money to make the profit enough. You know what I'm saying? It was like, what's the fun in that? Oh my God, my buddies and guys that do other sites there. Oh, this is a great opportunity if you're on the Braves at plus 120, get on the Astros at plus 145. And I'm like, there's no fun in that. You know what I mean? Again, not the wisest business decision, but those are the kind of things you look for in a series.
Well, the thing about hedging too is technically you're always giving up an edge when you hedge. You had the Braves at plus money when mathematically going into Game 2 they should be minus money. So the only reason you would hedge in that situation is if you thought there was now value with Houston at plus money. And in your situation you did because, as you said, you thought they would win Game 2. So that's an example where you should hedge. But I think hedging in general is very overrated sometimes because normally it's a 50-50 proposition that you're hedging with the second time. I'll tell you, Tom, I actually mentioned this on WagerTalk yesterday when I was guest hosting. I'll be on there again today at noon Eastern. It's on WagerTalk TV 24/7. They can watch Thursday as well. But I found at some sports books yesterday, adjusted series price heading into Game 2, you could get the Astros plus 1.5 games minus 135. And I actually recommended that because going into the series, as you know, they were minus 140. So now one game in, you can get them at plus 1.5. They're only down a game, and Morton is out for at least 2 more starts in that series. So I thought that was the best way to play it. I do still think the Astros are in the driver's seat now to win it, but at that plus 1.5 at the same price as before the series started, minus 135, I thought was pretty intriguing.
I tried to do a public service for my listeners yesterday by arguing against all of the in-game stuff that you can do, unless you just want to take $50 and say, okay, I'm going to spend $50 on this game tonight just to have fun picking who's going to hit the first home run and which team is going to score first and all of that in-game stuff. I think that stuff is designed just to take the money out of your pocket. The more wagers that are out there, the more opportunity the house has to win. I'm like, you know what? Bet the side for the series. Bet the side for a game if you like the game. We know that. But to sit there on your phone and bet $10 on this guy's going to hit the first home run and bet $5 that this team's going to have the first, that to me is just it's a losing proposition to me.
Well, the key to winning long-term in sports betting, everyone thinks it's picking the right teams, and that's only third in the order of importance. The 2 most important factors to becoming a long-term winner is money management and shopping for line value. And the absurd example I give is, for example, you could hit 99% winners. If you go 99-1 over 100 games and you bet your full bankroll on every game, you still go broke at some point. And obviously that's an extreme example, but money management is key. And the problem with in-game wagering, like you're talking about right there, is people can really get over their head with the money management. It's the same thing we talk about with the Super Bowl. And it used to be once a year we'd have this disclaimer. It'd be Super Bowl Sunday with all the props. Now it's every day of the week with all the games and the in-game opportunities. So you really have to be careful because if you're, say, a $100 bettor and all of a sudden, even if you're only playing $10 or $20 per play, if you play 10 or 20 of them and they're correlated, you end up having more than 100 on a wager on a single outcome. And the other thing I'll point out, too, with line value is that with these in-game odds, there's extra juice normally. It's usually minus 115, minus 120 each way. So you do have to overcome a higher house edge long term on those wagers. The biggest tip I would give with in-game wagering, and there's a lot of opportunities. I know some pros that do extremely well with it. You have to kind of take a contrarian view. What you want to be doing is buying low and selling high, and obviously that sounds obvious, but you want to take a team when they're down 7-0 in a football game and you're getting more points than the initial point spread. You don't ever want to be playing these teams that are now minus 400, with the lead, because there are some opportunities, especially in the NFL and the NBA. It's so random now. You kind of want to buy low when a team is down maybe a run or two. And the nice thing about that, of course, Tom, is that you can risk less to win more at +3 or +4 to 1, and you don't have to hit as many of those. It's more of a payday when you do.
Yeah, like I said, I look at it the same way I look at going into a casino to play blackjack or something like that. I'm going to go in and say, okay, this is what I'm going to spend, and I'm willing to spend this, and not necessarily go in as much. When I'm picking games, game sides, and things like that, I expect to win. I expect to win 60% of the time. So, because I feel like I have a feel for that. I don't know if I have a feel for some of this other stuff. And there's a reason why all these places are these online casinos and things like that, why they're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to be licensed in all of these states that have the 20 states or so that have legalized gambling now. And it's not because they want to give money away. It's because they're making money. And then, that's why you got to be smart. You got to get the advice from guys like you.
Yeah, and the big thing now, too, is within the last year or two, these same-game, in-game parlays or whatever, where you can literally take 5 or 6 occurrences from the same game, and parlay them together. And once again, it's just a mathematical thing. They're skewing your payoffs. The one edge you can find there is if you think things are somewhat correlated, and I do think there's some sharp bettors, once again, that take advantage. But for the general public, you want to keep it simple. You want to follow advice from like yourself or me, somebody that follows this, and know what we're talking about. And stay away from the exciting, quick money things with those in-game bets.
I think we are seeing, though, more and more vitriol between the fans and the players because of the legalized betting. It was a one thing with fantasy, and it was enough that a lot of players would get harassed by fans, especially with all the social media stuff where they could just post on their wall or post in their mentions or whatever, and harassing them because you had a lousy game, and I needed you to catch one more pass for me to win my fantasy game. But now that there's money on the line in terms of betting the side, it's to the point where there are fans that turn on their own players and their own teams even if they win a game. I used an example yesterday of the Nick Chubb deal against the Texans, where the Browns were leading by 3. They were a 4.5-point favorite. He broke free. The Texans had no timeouts. He broke free and coasted out of bounds at the 1-yard line, and they took a knee, and if he walks in the end zone, they cover. And all these Browns fans of the team that won the game, were ripping him because he cost them money because he didn't score the touchdown. If you're to the point where you're now angry with your own favorite players or your own team because they didn't cover, they just won the game and didn't cover, then there's maybe something wrong, with the way you're looking at it.
Yeah, and that's the thing about fantasy is it was always kind of a low enough dollar amount, where it didn't get this big. But now the sports betting is obviously at a much higher level. I do think one thing about it is that it's nice that these players do get paid as much as they do because they won't care as much, hopefully.
Yeah.
And that's why, the college betting side always comes to the equation. Well, if there's one sport where, they're somewhat subject, it's college, and I get that. But the bottom line is the betting is still happening. As you know, it's always happened for decades. It's been underground, so at least we have it above ground now where we know where the money's going and which teams are getting bet on with the legal sports books. And, of course, there's another group of people that are suspect. It's officials because they don't get paid as much also. But at least now it's on the up and up, and we can see where the bets and the actions go. There's always going to be, some risk with college or just officials at any sport, I think, for funny business. But to be honest, it's happened very few and far between for decades now, and that's when it was underground. Obviously, having it regulated now makes it more transparent.
Steve Merril with us from ProSportsInfo.com. Tonight, a fascinating game. Something that I don't know if you knew that, but the winning percentage of these two teams, the 729 or 790 or 926 winning percentage, right? You got the 6-1 Packers at the 7-0 Cardinals. This game is the third highest winning percentage game between two teams in the Monday Night Football era in terms of on a primetime game. You just don't get games like this in primetime that this late in the year where you've got two teams that are undefeated or one team that's just got one loss and so on. But the Packers come limping in with no wide receivers. They're getting 6.5. I don't know how much the line changed based on the fact that they won't have Devontae Adams and I don't know who else is going to be out now 100%. But how do you look at this one here with the Packers getting 6.5 at a Cardinals team that is, for the first time in franchise history, going all the way back to Chicago Cardinal days, trying to get the 8-0?
Well, the line, first of all, definitely changed because the early opening line in this game was pretty much around 3.5, even this week. So you're talking about a full field goal here. It's moved to 6.5 because of the injuries. And normally you'd see a move like that, but Aaron Rodgers must be hurt. Nope. Like you said, you've got 3 receivers doubtful or out, although Scantling has been upgraded to probable. So it's really Adams and Lazard who are out and doubtful. Hey, look, it's a blow, but I still think, as we've seen with some of these other games this season, the Raider line plummets last week. I actually like the Eagles in that game at +3, ends up closing as low as +1. Raiders still win. We've seen injuries become overrated a lot of times. Last year in the NBA could have hit 70% probably just playing against the injury moves in the NBA last year. Now, a lot of that is because teams, they come out complacent, they overlook the opponent, the other team steps it up. I don't think that'll be the case tonight because obviously, as you said, Tom, this is a huge game for both teams, but Green Bay's still a really good squad, and as you mentioned, their only loss came back in Week 1, as you and I always talk about that semi-Week 4 of the preseason, and that was that 38-3 loss at New Orleans. Packers have quietly gone a perfect 6-0 straight up and against the spread since. Some people might have gotten a push against Cincinnati. That line was actually +3 when I released it that Saturday. The Bengals went down to 2.5, 2. Of course, they lost late in overtime by 3, but the Packers did cover that still in a lot of spots. And Green Bay's also gone under 4 straight. So that's what's interesting to me is the defense is playing a lot better than people realize. They've held 3 of their last 4 opponents to 17 or less, and now they're playing shorthanded offensively. So, you maybe could make a case. I don't like unders in the NFL, but I can understand why this total has also dropped from 52.5 down to 50.5.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, how you felt about the total, and I could see that as well. And, yeah, I can't even watch a game that's an under game. You just right. You overs, you're hopeful. You're always hopeful in an over game. It's like, they're going to break one here. Unders are they're just so painful to watch because something stupid's going to happen along the way. The Titans were a 5.5-point dog to Buffalo at home. They won the game outright. They were a 5.5-point dog at home to Kansas City to win the game outright. Now they go to Indianapolis, and I could still get points with the Titans. It was a good comeback win for the Colts last week, but with the Titans you can get a point and a half, 2 in some places as well. What do you think about the Titans going to Indy? Oh.
The money is actually coming on Tennessee in this game. It opened 2.5, and it's actually really never hit that key number of 3, down to 1.5, even 1 now. And I can understand why the public's probably on Tennessee in this game. This is one of those public dogs this week. In fact, my Fade the Public NFL video on WagerTalk.com last week, one of the public underdogs, which is rare, was Tennessee against Kansas City, and obviously an easy win for the public there, 27-3. It looks like they're coming back with them this week, and this line's only around 1 right now. Colts, though, quietly also playing good football. They've started 0-3 against the spread, including that loss at Tennessee at the end of September. They've gone now 3-1 straight up, 4-0 against the spread. Their only loss straight up was in overtime at Baltimore. So be careful with Tennessee this week. This looks like one of those public underdog games, and they're all back-to-back straight-up dog wins as well.
And then just a couple from Saturday. One game here that's totally flummoxing me. I've got it and beat the big dog, so I got to pick it, but I got to be honest with you, it's going to almost be just a guess. This Kentucky-Mississippi State game, Kentucky is a 1.5-point favorite at Mississippi State. Their bubble got burst against Georgia. Mississippi State is like the tale of 2 teams. I wouldn't even recommend anybody betting this game, to be honest with you, but do you have any sense at all in this Kentucky-Mississippi State game?
Yeah, Kentucky obviously a very good team this season, but you do worry about their mindset. Obviously, when you're running perfect and everything's going right, you've got those national title hopes in your head, and then boom. Mississippi State, it's funny, I was talking about the NC State game yesterday on a different show, and they had a tough loss last week to Miami 31-30, and I was saying, NC State actually had only had 1 loss in the season. That was to Mississippi State back in September, and it wasn't looking, as bad now because the SEC is always tough. So I worry about NC State also being a little flat against Louisville this Saturday, but definitely a concern with Kentucky. The one thing about it is they are coming off the bye week since the Georgia loss, so you could make a case that, maybe they've regrouped. But historically speaking, teams that lose their first game this late in the season and for the most part probably have their national title hopes shot. do usually have a letdown. My power ratings make this game a pick-em. So right now, the current line is Kentucky -1.5. So you would say there's also a little bit of line by Mississippi State as well, including probably a good setup.
Yeah, that's my lean is towards Mississippi State, and then Ole Miss getting 2.5 at Auburn. That one surprised me at first. I thought that would be no worse than a pick'em. Of course, I guess they're saying that it's a pick'em if it's on a neutral site type of deal. But Auburn playing some nice defense against this Ole Miss offense that's outstanding. Ole Miss's defense, though, has been coming along. I look at Ole Miss getting 2.5, and that was one I kind of circled.
Yeah, my power ratings actually make the line 4. It opened pick'em. It's now up to 2.5. So pick'em was a cheap number. I did like Auburn at that number. 2.5 or less, you would still say there's value because, as you know, 3 is such a key number. But there are some sports books that are starting to show that key number of 3. There's about a 9% chance Auburn wins this game by exactly a field goal. So at 2.5 or less, I do still think there's some line value with Auburn in this one. Also a good setup for the Tigers as they're coming in off the bye week. Meanwhile, Ole Miss playing another game after Tennessee, LSU. Actually, you look at the lineup here they've had in October: Alabama, Arkansas, Tennessee, LSU, now Auburn, 5th game in 5 weeks. So the line value and the scheduling setup do favor Auburn.
Yeah, I'm surprised by all of that. I guess I don't know. And then how much do you put history in the mix when you look at Michigan as a 3.5-point favorite at Sparty, and the fact that Jim Harbaugh is just awful against top 10 teams? And here we go again. Are we supposed to expect that now all of a sudden they've gotten it figured out? Or because I'm kind of liking Sparty on that one.
Yeah, I think I definitely handicap coaches a lot in college football and college basketball. So I think it's something you have to be a little concerned with, that he hasn't exactly had a good big game record. This is a good Michigan State team, 7-0 straight up, 6-1 against the spread. But guess what? Michigan State, 7-0 straight up, 6-1 against the spread. And they have a lot of makings for a live home dog in this game. First of all, the bye week once again. They had a bye last week. Michigan did not. So I think that's a huge scheduling advantage, a strategic edge. They also are a good defensive dog, and they run the ball extremely well. We talk about that Michigan rushing attack, 5.5 yards per carry, 253 a game. Michigan State, 200 a game, 5.4 yards per carry. So got a home dog, good running game, good defense off the bye, and my power ratings make the line 1, and it's currently 4. So we're crossing that key number of 3 as well. So the line value and the setup favor Michigan State in that one. That's an early game, by the way, at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central on Saturday.
No doubt. Always a pleasure. Tell them how they can check you out at prosportsinfo.com. What you got, a little gift for them.
Yeah, if they email me directly, mention the show, I'll give them a free best bet. Website's prosportsinfo.com, but why not get it for free? Email me and mention you heard the show, Steve at prosportsinfo.com. Mention the Thom Abraham Show, and you get a free football best bet for this weekend. Email me directly, Steve at prosportsinfo.com.
Outstanding work as always. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Tom.
All right, we'll grab a break. We'll come back with a final segment of this hour. We'll set you up for hour number 2 next, right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Looking for a great deal? Well, I've got one for you. Thom Abraham here for Valley Equipment Rental. And at Valley Equipment, if you rent after 3 on a Friday or on a Saturday morning, you're not due back until Monday morning. So basically, you're getting the entire weekend for the price of one day. And if you're in the service or are a vet, they'll knock another 10% off. Valley Equipment is locally owned and involved in our community through charities and even supporting local teams. And soon, they'll have a second location to handle even more equipment. Stay tuned for info on where that will be and when it will open.
Have you ever found exactly the right new car or truck with the exact features that you want and nothing else? Well, at Woody Anderson Ford, we can promise you just that. Hey, Bobby White back again, and you can now factory order your new Ford today, and you'll get your new car or truck exactly the way you want it. And there's no extra cost to custom order. Plus, you get $1,000 off MSRP on top of any additional factory rebates. This applies to 2021 F-150, Explorer, Ranger, and Expedition. It's a win-win with a custom order at Woody Anderson Ford. You get the colors, the features, and the options that fit your life. Plus, you get notified when it's built, shipped, and ready to deliver. Listen, buying a new car or truck is likely the second largest investment you'll ever make. So why settle? Get exactly what you want with a custom factory order today. And get $1,000 off MSRP. See how at WoodyAndersonFord.com or at the corner of Jordan Lane and Sparkman Drive. Hope to see you soon.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
In 2 years, you can have a career that makes sense for you. Skill up and earn a living working with your hands. Or work on the front line of computer information systems and cybersecurity. Get a degree that lets your healing heart take care of people. Help design and manufacture the most advanced cars, machinery, or even aerospace components. In just 2 years, great careers are within your reach at Drake State Community and Technical College. Visit drakestate.edu to apply.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Thursday, expect scattered showers and possibly a thunderstorm before lunchtime. High temperatures going to be topping out in the upper 60s for the afternoon. Gusty winds as high as 30 miles per hour are possible as well. For your Thursday night, expect a few isolated showers. Low temperatures falling into the lower 50s. I'm meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
He's bald, he's opinionated, and he's here.
You're morally reprehensible, vulgar, insensitive, selfish, stupid. You have no taste, a lousy sense of humor, and you smell.
Listen to Feinbaum, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Show is brought to you by Valley Equipment Rental. Valley Equipment Rental. So yesterday, I'm walking into Baumhauer's, and Valley Equipment Rental pickup truck pulls up alongside of me, and I see Ross Roberts get out, but he's all focused on his little girl, and his little girl is in this outfit. It was so cute. She was dressed up like Mary Poppins, and she must be 3 years old, is what I'm saying. Maybe 4 years old.
That's awesome.
Oh, God, she was so cute. And she was coming from her dance class where they had to dress up for something. I don't know if they had to do with Halloween or if they were dressing up for something that they were doing in the show. But she was dressed as Mary Poppins, and she had her hair all done up and her hat on, cockeyed, and she was just absolutely adorable. So he was totally focused on that, and I'm walking behind him, and I'm, like, chiding him as I'm walking behind him. And so finally, as we get to the door, I say, did she rent that costume at Valley Equipment Rental? And he turns around and sees me. He gives me a big hug. They're like family over there at Valley Equipment Rental. They got everything you need. They got more skid steers and excavators than anyone in the Valley. And their new location which we will announce next month, but their new, which is like in days, but their new location, I don't want to say new location, their second location is opening up. Where they'll have dozers and large excavators and more stuff for you. Valley Equipment Rental. They help you get the job done. All right, when we come back, Tom Perkins will join us from TOC Sports with a TOC Sports prep preview for the final weekend of the regular season on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now, and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you, so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Orange is the color of power, of progress, the color of Kubota and Huntsville Tractor and Equipment. Those who need to get things done, trust Kubota's L and M Series tractors, zero-turn mowers, the fun sidekick, from one of the top dealers in the country. More than 50 years of family service, every part in the book, and folks who know what to do with them. You'll be seeing orange with Huntsville Tractor and Equipment.
Come on, let's go to work.
Take your taste buds back in time with a trip to the all-new Bubby's Diner, offering a variety of mouth-watering food from delicious starters to 50s-style diner food and meat and 3 meals, featuring owner and Huntsville native Chris Bubby Belcher's family's homemade recipes. Open Monday through Saturday for breakfast, lunch, and dinner at 8412 Whitesburg Drive in the former Gibson's Barbecue. Drive-in, drive-through, carry-out, or curbside pickup with delivery coming soon through Grub South. Bubby's Diner, home of the Donut Burger.
Brooks & Collier has always been about making the most of your outdoors. Our lush greenhouse and new furniture ideas will inspire you, but we're also about value. Our brands are so handsome, they'll make themselves comfortable inside or out, and so well made, they'll weather the weather for many years to come. Our staff can consult you on the right choices, and Lucy for sure can show us the sofa that's the most comfortable. Make the most of your outdoors. Meridian Street and at brooksandcollier.com.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. At this hour, it appears Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers will be down 2 of his top receivers for the opening game of Week 8 of the NFL season. Devontae Adams, Allen Lazard on the COVID-19 list, likely out against the Cardinals. Undefeated Arizona will be without defensive end J.J. Watt. He'll likely undergo season-ending shoulder surgery, reports ESPN's Adam Schefter. Cards pass rusher Chandler Jones returns tonight from the COVID list. Cowboys continuing to evaluate quarterback Dak Prescott before determining whether he plays against the Vikings on Sunday night. Prescott's been dealing with a calf injury. Dallas has won 5 straight and does have a 3.5-game lead atop the NFC East. No decision yet from the Browns on their starting quarterback against the Steelers. Baker Mayfield told reporters it's absolutely possible he could return from an injured shoulder. Case Keenum started in place of the injured Mayfield the last game.
This is Eli Gold of the Crimson Tide Sports Network. A new contract and expanded playoffs with the same results. Listen to Alabama football on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The Big Dawg, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you. I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live, here he is, the Big Dawg, Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like El McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond? Get off my lawn.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Thom Abraham Show. This segment brought to you by TOCSports. Don't forget, tomorrow night, the TOCSports After Hours Clinic will be open. If you get those bumps and bruises, injuries, you definitely need to visit the TOCSports After Hours Clinic. And reminder that if you're out there and you see your own doctor and he says that, you know what, I think you need to see an orthopedic, you tell him, just cut him off right there. And just say, hey, I got to go see the docs at TOC. All right, and they'll send you over to TOC and get you fixed up right. There's really no other choice. And joined now from TOC by Tom Perkins for our TOC Sports Prep Preview. Maybe I should call it the TOC Sports Prep and Puck Preview with the big night coming up tomorrow night down at the VBC. Tommy, welcome back. How are you?
I'm well, TA. How are you, brother? Thanks for having me on again.
I am fantastic, and we'll get to the high school football here in a second. But, man, big night tomorrow night. Down there at the VBC. It'll be Halloween at the VBC or trick-or-treat at the VBC, and I suspect that we're going to see all kinds of costumes down there as well. It'll be a lot of fun. And, oh, by the way, the team is 3-0 to start the season with a couple of road victories after that home opener win. And so it's going to be a big night tomorrow night down at the VBC.
You know, a big, strong sprint out of the gate for the Huntsville Havoc, starting 3-0, getting that strong statement home win, and then picking up a couple of road victories to come back home. You know, it's hard to believe 2 weeks ago tomorrow was the home opener, but here we are 2 weeks in, and the team's doing pretty well. I from what I saw on opening night, the team gelled really quickly. I was talking to Stu, the assistant coach, you know, I asked him how the team was looking, and you know, he always said it's too easy. It's too early to tell. Too early to tell. Too early to tell because you've got to put these games in and gel a little bit. But boy, I tell you what, they looked like they were gelling really, really well that opening night. And you know, the 2 road victories is kind of a testament to see how things are going. You don't want to get you want to get all high and mighty and thinking, man, this is terrible, they're going undefeated. But you know, to come out of the gate and to have, or at least to show that you're gelling together, that the teams are working the plays well together and, you know, maximizing goals and minimizing penalties. I mean, that's always a great showing. And it's going to be great to have them come back home tomorrow night. We're going to have a huge crowd. This is what I love about the Havoc. You're not going to find this anywhere else in the SPHL. There's not another team that promotes their events as well as the Havoc do. And tomorrow night's no exception. The Halloween night, everybody's going to show up dressed to the nines. It's going to be it will be Halloween at the VBC without a doubt. There's no other way to put it. These fans are going to come out full force, and they're going to get another good showing and another great show. I mean, it's the promotions they do, the fun things that they have. You know, the fact that the team comes out in the lobby. Tom, you've seen this. The team comes out into the lobby before they open the gates. I think it's right after they open the gates for some of the season ticket holders. And the team comes out in the lobby and they hacky sack, or they kick a ball around. They just so you can see signs of these guys gelling together even off the ice. And when you gel off the ice, man, gelling on the ice is just a piece of cake, because you all know how to play hockey. It's just, okay, I'm going to do this, you do this, and then we'll score. So that has always been the Huntsville Havoc way and the Huntsville Havoc dynamic. You know, you're not just joining a team, you're joining a family, and the best way for us to be successful is for us to come together.
Cy Nutkovich, player of the week, the Warrior player of the week. He had 2 game-winning goals in the two games they played this past week. Also had a couple of assists. And a kid that I covered with Birmingham that I loved when he was a Rookie of the Year, Jacob Barber. He took the year off last year, had retired, and came back at age 29. Glenn DeTulio convincing him that this would be a good thing to do, to come up I-65 and play for the Havoc. He leads in the first 2 weeks of the season. He leads the league in points with 8 and goals with 3. And he's fun to watch, man. Old number 11. He's fun to watch. And you look at these guys, the way this team is made up. And it was funny because I had asked Glenn before the season started. I said, so who's the tough guy? You know what I mean? Who's the guy? Who's that guy that you send out that is the guy? Because I need to mark that guy down on my sheet so I know who I'm talking about. And he says, you know what? He goes, we really don't have that anymore. He goes, it's just really not. Come on, it's the SPHL. He says, I got a few guys that can take care of themselves. He said, but we beat people with speed and skill. And when you look at this team, that's what you see. You see a lot of guys that are highly skilled. Of course, Tyler Piacentini is the smallest guy, in the world, but he'll knock your head off. I mean,
exactly.
He's vertically challenged, but he's still 185 pounds of solid rock. But it's really kind of neat the way to see this team is built and to see how they play. And Jacob Barber is going to be a fun fan favorite, I think.
Jacob is, and Cy has always been a crowd favorite. And this is just a testament to Glenn, to Coach DeTulio. The fact, he's been a player. He hasn't just been a player. He's been a player for the Havoc. Yeah. And so he gets it. He gets what pieces he needs. And he starts putting them together strategically, all with the base players. His first priority is to secure those base players from the season before, get the veterans, get the guys that are around, get the guys that are just really, really strong contributors to the team all around. You get those guys, and then you start piecing everybody together. You've got guys that move up, you have guys that move on, you have guys that retire. But then you start going out and you start piecing these things together. And I asked him what it was like, and it's like, it's like recruiting. You got to track these guys down, have a conversation with them, and see if they're interested in coming to play. And the reputation of the Havoc now is so high that you start talking to guys who have never played for the Havoc, who have never really even played at the SPHL, and you start hearing them talk about how professional, how first class it is, how even some would argue there's a discrepancy in the talent levels in the different, but guys that even come from the ECHL come down here, or the CHL that come down here and play. The intensity is still high. The game expectations are still high, and it's just a testament to Glenn and Stu. No, I mean you can't do it all by your own. But right. Glenn and Stu to be able to say, even as former players, to say, all right, we know in the past this kind of guy has worked here. Let's go out and get that kind of guy. And so you go out and you fish around, and you truly sometimes you have to wait for guys who didn't necessarily make higher rosters to come down and trickle down. However, there's still plenty of good guys to pick from, and it takes a skilled eye and a skilled player, now coach, to really identify these guys. Not just to be successful with wins, but to be long-term contributors to the team. Long-term contributors to the fans and to the things that they have to do and the success that comes with it. So I mean, kudos to those guys. They work their butts off, not just game days, not just when it comes time to drop the puck. It's when these guys come together and gel. And those guys are the orchestrators of it all.
Now, I know that you've got, your table and display set up there right in the lobby by the Bud Light Cafe for TOC Sports. I heard a rumor, I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard you were going as the Big Dawg. That you had stuffed a pillow underneath an Alabama hoodie, and you're gonna use a little gray in your hair. You're gonna kind of color your hair gray a little bit, and put a headset on, and you were going as the Big Dawg. Is this true or not? I don't know if that's true or not.
There's some validity to it. I will admit I've been working on your accent for about 5 or 6 years now, and I think I've kind of got it down a little bit. So I figured I'll spray a little gray in the hair. I won't put a big pillow. I'll put a small pillow. And then, nice pair of shades and a headset.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be your doppelganger, buddy. I mean, I'll walk in and be like, who is that guy? Is that Thom Abraham?
You got to say, you don't listen. You don't listen.
Yeah, you got to say that. You don't listen. You pay attention. Now, pay attention. You got to say that a lot. You got to say, pay attention. Yeah, that's what you got to do.
I do say that a lot. I'm a dad.
There you go. See, you are a dad. So you know that's like being a host, and when you got producers, it's like being a dad. You know what I mean? You got to pay attention.
Exactly. Pay attention. You got to snap at them and clap your hands and hey, I'm talking here.
We've been paying attention to this Huntsville Crimson Panther team this year, and of course they've been on our air on Zone 2 all season long. And I just can't believe the heartbreak. I mean, they lost to James Clemens, Bob Jones, and Sparkman 3 games by a total of 7 points. I mean, what a different narrative it would be for them if they had figured out a way to win, even 2 of those 3 games. They were that close, though. What a heartbreaking year it has been for them. And, of course, they'll wrap the season up with a trip to Decatur tomorrow night, which we'll have.
A winnable game for them, and what a finish it would be to a roller coaster season for these guys. It's a testament to a lot of those guys because we've talked about Huntsville all throughout the season, and the near misses, the ups and the downs, and I think it's easy once they wrap up this season to look back on it, whether they come out of Ogle Stadium with a victory or not. I think it's a testament for this team to look back and say, wow, given what we had to work with, which was a lot of youth. I mean, it's a very young team. They'll be able to look back on it and say, given what we had, given the level of product that we had to give, I thought walking away, I thought we had a pretty good season. I think they can hang their head up high. I really do. I think those near misses, they're tough, but like we talked about before, those games have a way of resonating in a way where you can really build that confidence because you believe, at least for a little bit, that what you had was strong enough to compete at the highest level against the likes of.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean exactly. There was the proof was in the pudding. We saw it. Everyone that had been tracking this team had seen what they were putting out on the field, and it was relentless. They didn't give up. They kept pushing and pushing and pushing. But sometimes you don't have enough horses in the stable, and that's what happens sometimes. But for these kids and for Coach and for all these guys that are looking at oh shucks, we came so close. This really is one of those rare occasions where you've got to look at the L's and say, yeah, but ...
Yeah.
We may have lost, but look what we did here. We rushed for 120, 200 yards on a defense that doesn't allow that. We passed for X number of yards. That there are always some pluses. I think these kids can really go. I think they can go in Decatur, and I think they might be able to swipe one. That's a heck of a place to play. But what a way to end the season. But even if they don't, there's enough highlights. Even in the losses, there's enough highlights for this Crimson Panther team to really, really hold their head high. And, man, they're going to be fun to watch next year. I really, really think so.
Tonight over at Bill Washington Stadium, Madison Academy will host Russellville in a non-region game. But, I mean, these two teams both lost the top, I think, 6A teams early in the year and have been very, very good. I mean, if you're just looking for a high school football game to go to tonight, Russellville 8-1, Madison Academy 8-1. This is some really good stuff. Madison Academy ranked number 1 in 4A. Russellville ranked number 8 in 5A. This is going to be it obviously. I hate using that word meaningless because it doesn't mean anything. That we know that Madison Academy is playing Haleyville next week in the playoffs already. All that is set up. You think about you want to play a lot of kids and so on. But these are two really good, two of the state's best teams going at it tonight. At Madison Academy.
Well, people have to remember Russellville has always had a pedigree of good football. They've been down the last couple years, but this is a town that shuts down when Football Friday comes around, and the beacon in the town of Russellville are the stadium lights. So this is a pedigree of football that I'm glad to see returning to the pinnacle. Top 10 team, showing a lot of defense, a lot of offensive firepower. And this game may not mean anything beyond what's in front of them, but God, like you said, Tom, I mean, number 1 versus number 8 at Madison Academy, both 8-1. I think these teams would love nothing more than to slide out of this game with a victory. So, although it may not mean anything on paper, it may not affect anything in terms of who they're going to play next week, but whenever you have top teams, it's always fun to watch. And Madison Academy seems to be back, and Russellville seems to be back. So this is, 10, 15 years ago, this was a competition that we would expect. We would expect these teams to meet with very impressive records. And now here we circle back around in 2021, and here we are. So it's really good to see this. I'm happy for Academy. I'm happy for Russellville. They've seemed to have bounced back pretty well. Got a lot of good players. Should be a great game. Gosh, if you just want to see a high school football game, that's the one
just
to go.
To see two really good teams playing. Now, nobody in the state of Alabama has played more games than Guntersville and Albertville, and it's remarkably close because you think about how Guntersville has been, recently and what Albertville is going through. But the series is remarkably close. I think Guntersville leads the series by 6 or 7 games over the the 107 games that they have played so far. This could get a little bit sideways like it did last year. Guntersville won 54-0 last year, but still, it's a rivalry game. Albertville can shot the world and set their whole off season up with a win here. But I think even if they are able to play reasonably good football, and then maybe they can get some positive. They give up a lot of points. They give up 45 points a game. I mean, it's this one has all the earmarks of a blowout, but it is still a rivalry game.
It is still a rivalry game, and when if I remember back to the James Clemens Bob Jones game, we were all thinking, hey, I think Bob Jones had gotten whooped the previous week, and James Clemens had done the whooping, so the writing on the wall was, this should be a cakewalk for James Clemens. Well, it wasn't. It turned out to be a very close game. James Clemens came out on top, but Bob Jones came out fighting. Now, Bob Jones isn't quite Albertville, and Albertville isn't quite Bob Jones, I should say, rather. But when you're talking about schools that are separated by 2 minutes as the crow flies, 10 by road, I don't think you can throw anything out. But on paper it looks very one-sided. You got the number 5 ranked team in Class 5A. You got Albertville that has the one